buying or renting, which is better?
एक जमाना आ सकता है जब आप किराया अफोर्ड नहीं कर पाएंगे, because किराया बढ़ते जाएगा. My recommendation to every person is that you must buy your house, even if it is small. That capital creation you can never create in any other business. Home will never become obsolete. A home is a home, it's a need. So this industry will never die. You can be rest assured that if you are in the food business, if you are in the clothing business, or you are in this, and you understand the ropes of that business, you can never lose out.
Don't you feel that Indian consumers are very price sensitive?
Quality is an essential minimum need. In fact, anybody who makes a bad quality building should be hanged.
What's the price of this apartment? Today's episode is with a real estate billionaire. The person who started from scratch and today is one of the richest real estate billionaires in the country. Mr. निरंजन हिरानंदानी, जो मुंबई में आए और उन्होंने ज़ीरो से स्टार्ट किया और पूरी लाइफ टर्न अराउंड करके अपनी खुद की सिर्फ और सिर्फ बिल्डिंग्स नहीं बनाई, खुद की सोसाइटीज़ बना ली, खुद की पूरी छोटी सिटीज़ बना दी. और ये सब बनाने के बीच में उनका माइंडसेट कैसे था? आप और मैं ज़ीरो से स्टार्ट करके इतने बड़े विजन वाले प्रोजेक्ट्स के लिए पैसे कैसे लेके आ सकते हैं, इनके लिए क्या करना होता है और उसको फिर इम्प्लीमेंट कैसे कर सकते हैं और इतना बड़ा एम्पायर कैसे बना सकते हैं, हमने इसके बारे में बात करी है. वी हैव ऑल्सो स्पोकन अबाउट कि उनका विजन क्या है मुंबई को लेके, मुंबई के सारे स्लम्स को लेके, और अगर धारावी उनको दे दिया जाए तो वो क्या करेंगे और क्यों वो ऐसा बोलते हैं. इन सब चीज़ों पे बात करी है. टू अंडरस्टैंड हाउ अ बिलियनियर थिंक्स, टू अंडरस्टैंड हाउ टू कैप्चर एवरी अपॉर्चुनिटी एंड हाउ टू गो फ्रॉम ज़ीरो to becoming super successful in your industry. If you are interested in any of this, then today's episode is really important for you. And before you enjoy the show, please go subscribe Raj Shamani Clips and Raj Shamani Shorts channel, क्योंकि वहाँ पे हम बहुत सारे ऐसे छोटे छोटे क्लिप्स में चीज़ें डालते हैं जो शायद इस बड़े एपिसोड में आपको देखने को ना मिले. तो आपको बिहाइंड द सीन अनफिल्टर्ड कॉन्वर्जेशन का मज़ा भी वहाँ पे एक छोटी सी क्लिप में मिल जाएगा. Enjoy the show. Sir, welcome to Figuring Out. You were the first generation entrepreneur in the real estate business, right? और ये बहुत difficult होता है. Usually जितना मैंने देखा है सुना है, ऐसा होता है कि सारे family wealthy businesses जो होते हैं या wealthy business owners होते हैं, उनके kids या उनके grandsons या उनकी granddaughters ही continue करती है business. And real estate is a very family driven because बहुत capital intensive होता है, बहुत experience intensive होता है, and there are a lot of different kind of pressures जिसको तुम्हें deal करना पड़ता है if you are in a real estate business.
Yeah.
So how and why real estate in the beginning?
It's a long story actually. When I was young, my father, doctor, ENT specialist, Padma Bhushan, Dhanvantri Award winner, my elder brother who was 10 years older to me, also studying to be a doctor. When I looked up to him, I was quite afraid. My God, they work so hard in their lives. I didn't want to work so hard. So I wanted to take a little easy. So I took up commerce. I did my BCom and arts was not my subject. Maybe I found that easier, but I was not cut out for art. So I took up commerce as a default. And but once I entered college, there was always the thing to look up to in terms of my father was so iconic. I couldn't be a failure in my commerce. So I did study in the last year. And I stood second in the University of Mumbai. But I was always keen on doing business because my father had lots of patients who were very eminent businessmen. The Mafatlals, the Birlas, the Tatas, the Mahindras, all these senior people were my father's patients.
Okay.
And I always looked up to them. I said, my God, look at them, iconic people. So I wanted to be something like that.
Iconic.
I didn't know what it was and what it meant to do the business of business, because in our family we hardly ever discussed the issue of business. We didn't know the B of business. Anyway, after BCom, my father persuaded me to do my CA also. I did. I was a teacher for a year in the Institute of Chartered Accountants. And I started with a textile factory in Charkop, Kandivali. And this was done because I also articled 2 years during my commerce career to work in Gwalior Rayon and Century Mills. And so I thought I will do that. And we got into power looms and I started with almost 200 power looms there. And we did a little dabbling in real estate. Over a period of time, both the businesses were doing badly. I almost failed in both. I had to sell one business, didn't know what to sell. This story happened that I got a notice from the union of my Palum factory asking for 100% increase in wages.
Okay.
I said, 100% increase in wages? कुछ वो
जीरो में से
मिस्टेक
गया
होगा, कुछ एक जीरो ज्यादा आ गया. तो बोले नहीं हमको 100%, क्योंकि the mills and all that used to charge more and we worked on the arbitrage of labor costs. Anyway, that persuaded me that I could sell my factory, which was this thing, and I got in full-fledged into real estate. Then I realized that now that I have failed and I've gone into real estate, I can't now afford to fail because my father and brother are all professionally doing very well. मुझे भी तो successful होना ही है, कुछ तो करना चाहिए. So got into real estate with small capital, hardly 10 lakhs of rupees, less than 10 lakhs of rupees, and started very small, extension of a building and other things. Rest is history.
Let's elaborate history now. Okay, before we actually talk more about real estate, एक बात बताओ, बहुत क्लासिक YouTube पे एक डिबेट चलती है, ठीक है, about rent versus buy. I want to know it from you कि in Mumbai or in metro cities, this is a trend now picking up, especially a lot of YouTubers or let's say CAs online are coming and being क्योंकि अगर तुम मैथ करोगे, so rent करना is more beneficial for you in the long run than buying a house, because people usually say कि आप बैंक में रखोगे पैसा तो आपको 6 से 7% मिलेगा, आप खुद का घर रखोगे जितना बड़ा होगा वो 2 से 3% में आपको रेंट मिल जाएगा. So what do you think, buying or renting, which is better?
Can I give a little longer story?
100%.
रोटी कपड़ा मकान. रोटी के लिए, कपड़ा के लिए, मकान के लिए आपको लाइफ में इंश्योरेंस करने की ज़रूरत पड़ती है, क्योंकि हमारे देश में अब तक सोशल सिक्योरिटी नहीं है. जो किराए पर लेते हैं, एक ज़माना आ सकता है जब आप किराया अफोर्ड नहीं कर पाएंगे, बिकॉज किराया बढ़ते जाएगा, सिचुएशन चेंज होते जाएगा और आपकी अफोर्डेबिलिटी नहीं है. आप घर खरीदेंगे तो आज की तारीख में आपको अभी 8% हो गया है लोन का ब्याज. Earlier, it was 6.5%. If you bought that house and paid installments, आपको income tax में भी rebate मिल जाता है और आपका घर बन जाता है with a tax benefit that you get. So, a combination of social security of getting a minimum house is imperative for every Indian to do if he can afford it. Second, yes, rental पर there is nothing wrong with rental. There has to be rental. आज मेरे पास मकान मुंबई में है, मुझे नौकरी बैंगलोर में मिलती है, तो मैं वहाँ जाके किराए पर ही लूँगा. ये किराए पर हम दे सकते हैं. लेकिन इट इज़ माई रिकमेंडेशन दैट एवरी पर्सन इन इंडिया मस्ट ट्राई विद इन हिज कैपेसिटी टू बी अ हाउस. Today, home loans are available to most of the people at very, very economical rates as compared to any other rate in the marketplace. The home loans are available and it is recommended you buy. Buy a small house, buy a studio apartment, buy a 1-bedroom. Whatever you can afford, buy it. It doesn't matter. So that social security is available to you in a lifetime. आपका नौकरी चले जाए, नुकसान हो जाए, कुछ भी हो जाए. However, not everybody can afford a rental house in a place where you have got work.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong in rental. So world over, you have people who buy houses and there are people who rent it. दोनों ठीक है. लेकिन my recommendation to every person is that you must buy your house, even if it is small, even if it is in your home place or wherever it is, but always buy it. That capital creation, you can never create in any other business.
So that, okay, capital creation पे बात करते हैं, okay? Because, so first is you said buy versus rent. The debate is, let's say, technically not worthy enough to discuss क्योंकि the point is not logic, the point is security.
Yes.
Like it's not.
So you must get your security. After you have your security, you rent out. Doesn't matter. You don't even have to stay in the house you stayed. I mean, you bought. You can buy a house in a place and Rent out in some other B place, but at least you have a security of house. कोविड के समय पर कितने लोग जो किराए पर रहते थे, societies were not allowing other relatives to come to stay with you, and people like that. So if parents were staying in a house and suddenly there additional people came, societies were objecting. So there are a lot of problems as far as this is concerned. Number two, जो हुआ है, which has happened, is that people are now wanting bigger and better houses post-COVID.
Yeah.
So it's not only the rent versus buy. It is buy and buy a bigger house than what you actually need. वो बोलते हैं ना need based. पहले क्या था, मुझे इतना ही खरीदना है. अभी लोग थोड़ा उनको कैपेसिटी हो तो थोड़ा बड़ा भी खरीदते हैं.
And that's I think that's overall not just in real estate, that's the whole India sentiment now. कि हर किसी को अब थोड़ा सा बड़ा चाहिए, bigger lifestyle चाहिए. They want the aspiration class is getting bigger.
Oh, the aspiration class is getting bigger everywhere. So if you go to the mall, you'll find that people want a bigger and better. You go and see cars being sold, they want little bigger and better. So in all fields of activity, thanks to the growth and GDP growth, income levels which have improved, and people wanting to spend. पहले एक था कि फ्यूचर में क्या होगा, तो बचाओ पैसे बचा लो. अब बचाना तो है ही, लेकिन खर्चा भी करना है. आज को भी हम मौज मस्ती कर लें, तो कुछ आज खर्चा करते, कुछ सेविंग करते.
तो आपने कैसे किया? Were you this person कि मैं खर्चा कर लेता हूँ आज, और were you this कि मैं बचा के रखता हूँ और कल बड़ा करूँगा, फिर एक दिन खर्चा करूँगा एक साथ?
ऐसी कोई नहीं है हमारे में. तो जब मैं बिजनेस इंक्रीज कर रहा था, तो मैं बहुत थोड़ा गलत काम भी किया.
क्या गलत काम?
जैसे मैं काफ़ी पैसे, उस समय बैंक्स पैसे नहीं देते थे, तो हम हुंडी पर लेते थे, मीन्स प्राइवेट मनी लेंडर्स.
ओके.
And those monies were taken by me at interest of 2% per month. ज़माने में वही था. So, and no bank was there. No banks gave to any builders at that time when we started. So I had done borrowing at that and anything. But we repaid all the loans. We never defaulted. And thank God for that.
But were you this person जो कि मैं profits जो कमा रहा हूँ हर साल, मैं आज उड़ाता हूँ थोड़ी और बड़ी गाड़ी लेने में, थोड़ा बड़ा घर लेने में, कि were you this person कि let me save it for next 10 years, 20 years and keep saving it?
So when I was young, I only wanted to grow big. Bigger. That aspiration is gone. I don't want to become bigger.
Okay.
But I want to become better. बहुत फर्क आ गया है. पहले तो यही था कि कुछ और कमा लूं, पैसे ज़्यादा बन जाए, बड़े प्रोजेक्ट्स बन जाए, इससे भी बड़े बनने चाहिए. वो एक था, that was there. And I worked towards it, and I worked very, very hard. And we did succeed, thank God. But today, if you ask me, I am on a different route completely. It's always, how can I better myself? How can I better my products? How can I better my relationship with my customer? It's quite different. मैं बड़ा भी नहीं हूँ, मुझे कोई चिंता नहीं है. I don't even have a wink to think that way. The whole perception has changed, and I think I'm a changed person in that sense of the term completely. But there was a big fire in the belly. Today there is a fire in the belly, but for different ways, completely different. Like I want to do things better and better. The same things, different things, and I'm really happy to do that.
Okay, I have an interesting question. Okay, now that you know so much about your field, about your industry, here, अब next project या next big thing or the next better thing, अब कैसे decide करते हो? क्योंकि, and I'll tell you why I'm asking this question, right? When you're young and when you're on your field, तब आप आसपास सिर्फ ऑब्जर्व कर रहे होते हो कहाँ पे अपॉर्चुनिटी है और कहाँ पे आप बेटर कर सकते हो, एंड आप वो करते चले आते हो. बट एज यू कीप ग्रोइंग, आपके आसपास ना ब्लॉकर्स बहुत बनते जाते हैं. बिकॉज द ब्लॉकर कैन बी, लेट्स से यू आर इन योर ओन वर्ल्ड, यू हैव क्रिएटेड ओन वर्ल्ड एंड यू हैव होल डे स्केड्यूल डिजाइन. तो ऑब्जर्वेशन का इतना रूम नहीं बचता जितना पहले होता था. लाइक यू कांट बी ऑन द रोड्स एंड जस्ट थिंकिंग आउट, ओह यहाँ से गाड़ी निकल के ऐसा होना चाहिए था, राइट? यू कांट डू दैट. सो what's the process to choose the next better thing or the next big thing for you? How do you know what is the process to get those opportunities where you know, okay, this is the next thing for me?
You have to keep the ear to the ground. You meet the right people. You meet people who have more knowledge than you have. People who are into the world of consulting, those who are in the field of knowing better than you. And there are so many of them. So I always interact with them, always want to know what they are doing. And even in the business of business where I'm supposed to be king, I'm always learning. I'm always improving myself. So my construction quality is constantly improving. My methodology of construction is changing.
That's an ever-growing process.
It's an ever-growing part. So there's never going to be something where once you get in, once you are habituated to be a learner, you will always learn. If you have a glass ceiling or you have blinkers, you can't see left, you can't see right, you can't see anybody, and you don't want to learn because you are successful. But there's a problem. The problem is that the people around you are fixed that we have become successful because in the last 20 years we have worked this way. बहुत प्रॉब्लम होता है उनको समझाना कि अभी परिवर्तन की जरूरत है. We have to make the changes, we have to improve, we have to go forward, we have to do new things. You can't rely on the success of yesterday in order to live today or tomorrow. That's very difficult because people just get content and they don't want to change.
Yeah.
And the moment you don't want to change, you go on the downslide. Take a company like Kodak, the best in the world. They were the first one to have digital patents in digital technology. But they decided, no, we don't want to change. We don't want to make any changes whatsoever because we have to protect films and we have to protect this, that, and the other for whatever good reason. And they got wiped out. Polaroid did the same. So if you don't improve and if you don't change, if you don't move to the next level, the world will pass you by.
Interesting. Are you inspired by Polaroid or Kodak by any chance? Because, I'll tell you why. So I heard the founder of Polaroid saying that we are not a technology company. We are a mixture of liberal arts and technology together. And that's what we believe in. And that's the reason why Polaroid it's not just a camera, it's a beautiful looking picture.
Absolutely.
Do you believe in that? Because your societies look beautiful as well. Are you a liberal arts fan?
I'm not a liberal arts fan, to be honest with you. I'm a very logical person, but I have emotion at heart. So some things, like when I saw Pawai first, everybody said, yahan khajan hai. But I could dream it and it became what it is. And everybody told me that I was wrong and I was mistaken and I should not buy it and I should not do it and it's too far and it's wrong. And my architects told me, my lawyers told me, my people told me. But somehow that something inside me told me that no, this is my gut feel told me that this is my place. And actually it came out of a default. I made 11 buildings in Lokhandwala complex.
Okay.
And every time I finished a building, I made a nice building, considering those days. And I went into the building and I looked out. The roads were bad, no street lights, no stormwater drains, no proper water supply, no greens in that area, totally nothing. And I was building 11 buildings and Mr. Lokhandwala was building 250 buildings and other developers put together were building another 100 buildings. So I formed an association. I became the secretary, Mr. Lokhandwala became the president, and Mr. Valavalkar, who was the owner originally of the land, became the chairman. And I initiated all the roads, the street lights, the water supply, the stormwater drains, and the sewage line there in order to give facility to all the 300 plus buildings. And every time I finished a building, I was so unhappy because everything around me was not good. So I decided I'll make in a place, next time I do anything, I'll make in a place where आसपास में सब कुछ मेरा ही है. The roads are mine, the gardens are mine, the school is mine, the hospital is mine, the retail is mine, the commercial is mine, my residential is mine, everything is mine, and my house is also mine. So what happened is this was kind of feeling which I got that, so Powai was about that. Thana was not like that. Thana was thought process that I thought the future could be on that direction. I wasn't as equally passionate about Thane. And but now, of course, it's become very successful. So people say, "अरे यार, उनका दिमाग बहुत तेज है. देखो, यहाँ भी वो success किया, थाना में भी बहुत success किया." But I don't think that was any passion. I just thought that it was a good location and a large project area, which you can't get in the Mumbai city. So
it worked out well.
So it worked out well for me, really.
Okay, I have a question on this because you said you entered data, you were in, like you thought, let me have sewage, roadways, gardens, everything around. And usually there's a saying which I've tried to understand a pattern between almost all successful people and multi-millionaires or billionaires, right, in the country. It's they align their businesses with national interest. Okay. So if you look at, so whatever the current government or the next 10 years of the whole country's focus is on, they try to align their businesses with that because the growth is faster then. For example, India wants to say that, hey, I want to connect the whole India with roadways. So if you're in road business, there are obsolete amount of opportunities for you because it's just there, right? And you kind of do that. So do you think of this as well? Like, what is the national interest right now? Let me align my opportunities with them and then I'll grow faster. Do you do that?
Of course. But this is even better than that.
Okay.
My story is better than that story which you talk about. Because आप क्या बोल रहे हैं कि सरकार रोड बना देंगे या कुछ करेंगे इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर और मुझे पता है कि वो कर रहे हैं तो मुझे रोड सेक्टर में मैं जाऊँ
एंटर कर लेता हूँ.
मैं ऐसे सोचने की ज़रूरत ही नहीं है क्योंकि रोटी कपड़ा मकान सबकी ज़रूरत है. छोटा मकान हो, झोपड़ा हो या बड़ा मकान हो या पेंट हाउस हो, कुछ भी हो. Home is a need. The need for homes will never grow. The Kodak photographic camera may become obsolete by technology, but home will never become obsolete. A home is a home, it's a need. So this industry will never die. It'll change, it'll improve. But you can be rest assured that if you are in the food business, if you are in the clothing business, or you are in this, and you understand the ropes of that business, you can never lose out. You don't have to worry about the government. Of course, the government policies in terms of interest rates, in terms of other things, and now the PM Awas Yojana, all this giving subsidies for the poorest of poor is, of course, a thing which we see and we do take benefit of the policies which are happening. But in the home sector, it is important to know what the government is doing and where it's going to do. Like, यहाँ मेट्रो आ रही है तो यहाँ काम होगा, यहाँ क्रॉस हार्बर ब्रिज चल रहा है तो वहाँ पनवेल, हमारा प्रोजेक्ट वहाँ पनवेल में है ना, तो अभी क्रॉस हार्बर ब्रिज आ रहा है. वहाँ रेलवे लाइन जो अभी वीटी से लेके पनवेल तक है वो हमारे प्रोजेक्ट तक जाएगा और it will go up to Karjat. So all that is important for us to know in order to see the size and scale of those projects and identification of that. So the answer is yes, but not completely so in real estate.
And you feel this business will keep thriving regardless of the
business
competition?
Will grow.
Because this is...
Thriving, I don't know.
Okay.
That depends on, again, policies, wealth of the nation, GDP growth of the country. If GDP grows, homes demand will shoot up because everybody would like to have a house which is there, whether on rent or ownership, but you'll want a house. So I have to build that. So I believe GDP of India will continue to grow and it's ahead of the world already, but we will grow to double-digit GDP growth in 2 years.
Do you believe that our GDP will get doubled or 2.5x in the next 5 years?
For sure.
For sure?
For sure.
So we'll be around 7 trillion.
Yeah. 5 trillion, 7 trillion. There is no difficulty. See, we don't know what are the external circumstances which will happen. Jaise if COVID aa gaya, like Russia-Ukraine war has taken place. Suppose China has some war with Korea and some other disturbance takes place, then we will have a setback. But with the kind of leadership we have with Mr. Modi and the kind of things, the growth story that we have, I have no doubt even 1% that this GDP is going to grow. So the India aspiration will continue to grow, and business not, people will be more wealthier. That is important.
Yeah.
See, wealth of Mr. Ambani or any other person is not important. It is the wealth of the nation and the multiplier effect which the people, the common people will also benefit to do it, whether in terms of employment, whether in terms of wealth, whether in terms of facilities. All that is important.
For every father watching this, right? What are the three signs that you see in your kid and you feel like, okay, ab mera bachcha na ready ho gaya hai. I can rely on this person now.
Never happens. So
all the kids are going to hate me now.
A father will always have that problem, and the son will be 100% sure that he can make it without his father.
Yeah.
So both the things are equally true and equally untrue. Because the newness of the young generation is so important for growth. Technology is changing. You cannot imagine the amount of technology I'm using now in the last 3-4 years. It has completely changed the way I run my company, the way the whole thing is done. So if I didn't do this change, I should hand over to my son yesterday because I'm not adapting to change. So the son is always ready to take over in that sense of the term. But he should not forget that the maturity of experience of the father is also important to learn, not to copy. लोग बोलते हैं कि पिताजी ये करते हैं ना, उसको कॉपी कर लो. वो गलत है. Never copy anybody. I have so many mentors in my life, in construction, in technology, in other things. I never copy them. I emulate them. I learn from them. And then I adapt it to my own issue. If you see the architecture of these buildings, they are a certain character, but they're actually my own character. Because we have modified the architecture to such an extent that worldwide, the architecture is international old school of architecture. But in reality, we have adapted it so much that it's now a hiranandani created architecture. It's very different. So you'll never see any building like this in the whole world, which is similar to this. But it is actually a copy of an idea taken from there, modified and used it in our position. So I always look up to my mentors, people whom I consider as gurus in every field of activity that you do. And I pick up ideas from them. I don't copy them.
Let's say person A, tomorrow I go start a housing project. Okay, and I was like कि भाई hiranandani ने टाउनशिप बनाई 350 एकड़ की, मैं 500 एकड़ की बनाऊंगा, and I'll now तो 500 also here, so let's say 550 एकड़ की बनाऊंगा, and I want to go bigger, and I get the best engineers, get the best team in the world, and come up with a wild, very good concept. Do you think that only money can beat, let's say, if there is VC money, some Japanese investor put in money in me and it was like, okay, here's your $1 billion, go absolutely dominate the market. Do you think I'll be then able to dominate and become better than, let's say, hiranandani or Lodha or anyone, if just the money is the factor?
No, I can make this successful by making a tweak of your model.
Okay.
You bring the money, we identify the project, you run the whole thing, and you give me a development manager model. I run it for you, and it's your money, it's your thing, success is failure is yours. And I, as a development manager, will run your thing, and I'll take a fee for it. So the same thing which you're saying will not succeed. What you're saying will not succeed because you don't have the expertise or the enterprise or the ability to handle all these aspects of it at stage one. But you tie up with a hiranandani, and I will become your development manager. You get the land. I will help you with the concept. I will run it for you, and I'll charge a fee.
So
I mean, it's the same thing which you have said. but I've only changed one thing and made you
That's-
successful.
That's getting an expert on board.
Getting a person who will run it for a fee, I'll run it for you.
But do you think that that can be like I can do the same thing if I get few experts in-house, let's say
No.
and a senior manager or a senior CBO or CEO to run this?
You're more likely to fail than succeed because you really see good times anybody can manage. Any business can be run in good times because everything is growing up. So you also manage to do it. The problem is once in 5 years, business
the cycle goes down.
At that time you fail. Because there you need the expertise of a person who understands how to handle the downside of the market. अपसाइड में तो हर एक आदमी शाहूकार होता है. कैपिटल मार्केट में, स्टॉक मार्केट में जाओ ना, अरे मैंने लास्ट ईयर इतने पैसे डाले, हम शाहूकार बन गए. चलिए डाउन मार्केट में आके बताइए कि कौन शाहूकार है और कौन नहीं. बहुत थोड़े लोग होंगे जो शाहूकार रहेंगे. So the question is, in the business of business, any person can make money. You can make money, I can make money, anyone can make money. Investor, whoever it is, who doesn't have any idea, he can pick up, and there are enough service elements to do it in the market. It's a wave. You ride the wave. But no, that would be the foolish thing to do. But tie up with a person who would be able to actually handle that part of it. You have the money, you have the expertise, and I have the capability of managing your entire thing. You pay me a development fee, and I'll do it for you.
Interesting. So, you know why I asked this question? Because a lot of people say this, that the only thing they don't have is money right now. They'll do everything. ये idea मेरा चल नहीं पा रहा है, ऐसे नहीं हो पा रहा है, just पैसा नहीं है.
This is the only generation where money is not in short supply.
Why would you say that?
In the good old days, money was the real constraint. Today, VC funding is there, IPOs are there, REITs
Angels
are
are
there, angel funding is there, everything is available. In fact, this is the time where money is the easiest. In the last 20 years, home loans, unbelievable. The growth which has taken place of home loans is unbelievable in India. It's the fastest growing sector in the world, home loans. And it will continue to grow in the next couple of years. You will see this happen. So I don't see that as money is not a constraint.
Yes.
Money is the thing. But you know what people want is...
You know, that's
that
actually
is not going to happen.
First thing that you said, that you wanted to build an apartment or you wanted to build a township which has zero leakage, right? And you've been able to do that for last 10 years.
30 years.
30 years. So for last 30 years, you've been able to provide apartments with zero leakage. And every year, you add up a new thing which makes your apartment better, because you feel that every feature that you add, that becomes foundation by the next year, right? Don't you think that adds up to the price?
Of course it does.
So when that adds up to the price, don't you feel that Indian consumers are very price sensitive?
Of course.
So if you add up and you make it, let's say 10% or 15% or 20% more expensive than the average apartment, do you feel that you won't be able to sell it because India is a price sensitive country?
Of course, you're absolutely right. But try and understand. There are about 200 buildings in Mumbai which are 30 years old, which require to be demolished and redeveloped. These buildings will last 100 years without leaking. It's not expensive, it's cheap. Unless you don't do that and don't believe in quality. If you make concrete road, like Bombay-Pune road was recommended to do in asphalt. I was part of that committee which decided to make it in concrete. By now, in 20 years, you would have redone that road 50 times, because you know what's the quality of Bombay-Pune roads. Here, only 3 kilometers out of 169 kilometers required repairs. Which is cheaper? The permanent good quality concrete road? Or is it going to be roads which are things which require potholes, which are constantly creating problems for you? Quality is an essential minimum need. You can't afford bad quality in anything in the world. You don't have to make, and you don't have to put marble. You don't have to put that kind of expensive amenities. But quality product, quality concrete, how can waterproofing? How can you not do it? Even for my government buildings which we have made, they always compliment me that you have made such strong buildings and all that. But I mean, that is a basic minimum. Quality is something which we should never consider expensive. Quality is cheap, not expensive. And we have to learn to do. Yes, amenities are expensive. You want a swimming pool, you want a jacuzzi, you want all the other amenities, automated lights on and off and all those things which you want to do, a clubhouse which is expensive. Okay, you don't want that, it's okay, you can shortchange that. How can you make bad quality building? In fact, anybody who makes a bad quality building should be hanged.
That's your perspective.
It's not a perspective, it's a need.
No, I agree.
The country
with you.
needs to do that, and we need to think like that only. Yeah, we have to stop thinking that you can afford to make bad quality roads or bad quality anything. I think all the people who are making bad quality stuff and all that should be eliminated from this country, because you can't afford to make bad quality anything. Can you make bad quality food also? Just because you want to make it cheaper? You want people to die because of bad quality food? Why should there be bad quality anything in this country? We have to eliminate bad quality completely. Anybody who makes bad quality, thanks to RERA, at least there are certain restrictions that have already come. But even otherwise, why should we make bad quality anything? I can't understand that. Whether it's a pin or a pencil or a pen or clothes or whatever it is, I think we have to start thinking that India is quality conscious, and people should say it's made in India, that's why it's good quality.
That shift has to come.
Has to come. And the Prime Minister's Day, just go and see Parliament House, go and see the Convention Center. You'll understand what quality is. Beautiful. Beautiful buildings. You can't even imagine that government has constructed it. It's so beautiful. But that is what is important to know. And we have to do it. Nothing should be made by the corporation which is not the best quality.
Do you feel now it's time that Indians will pay for it? If you deliver
Bad
good quality
is expensive, good quality is cheap. Please say that. Bad quality is expensive. It will last you 5 days. Your roads will break, your tires will get spoiled, your travel time will increase. But if you make good roads, you will travel faster. Your cars will be better, your motorcycles will be better, your cycles will be better, you will be safer. People will die less on the roads. You won't have a problem when it rains. Sab kuch theek ho sakta hai. But the moment you say you want cheap, so you want bad roads. Huh? I'm not willing to even hear such a thing. And I'm glad that the Prime Minister also doesn't hear such things.
No, it's good. It's good.
Even
That's happening.
Yogi Adityanath doesn't like it. I met him and he says, सबसे अच्छा बनना चाहिए. यूपी में है इसलिए अच्छा बनना चाहिए. वो ऐसे बात करते हैं.
That's a good attitude to have.
Yes, absolutely. Just hear him when he talks like that. सबसे बेहतरीन हम डेटा सेंटर वहाँ बनाए. नहीं, आप जो डेटा सेंटर यहाँ यूपी में बना रहे हैं, मेरे बेटे को कहा, दर्शन को कहा, सबसे अच्छा होना चाहिए. आप बोलिए हमारे सरकार से आपको क्या चाहिए, पर ये सबसे बेहतरीन डेटा सेंटर होनी चाहिए. पूरे देश को यहाँ आना चाहिए ये देखने के लिए. That is the kind of leadership that you need. No compromise on quality, no compromise on people. Give them the best. India deserves it. Our people deserve it. We must get it. Time is now. आज नहीं मिलेगा तो कब मिलेगा? लोग झोपड़पट्टी में कितने 50%. मुंबई is the richest city in India. 50% लोग झोपड़पट्टी में रहते हैं 70 साल से. कितने तक ये लोग रहेंगे वहां? जब आपके पास पैसे हैं, पॉसिबिलिटी है, सरकार है, ताकत है, सब कुछ है, क्यों नहीं करते? करिए.
Is there any project or any concept in your head which you feel like one day I wish somebody does it in the country, or maybe you want to do it? Something you feel is not logical, but you would want to see it.
I would love in the next 5 years to remove every slum in Mumbai. I drafted the scheme for Balasaheb Thackeray. I am the signatory on that scheme along with Mr. Afzal Purkar, who was then the chief secretary. And we worked out that we should eliminate slums in Mumbai. And I was part of that committee. We can do it. And we just have to take it off.
And what would happen to the people who live in slums?
We'll rehabilitate them. It's possible to do.
Is it? And so what's the usual problem when this kind of project happens?
There's no problem. You need a person passionate enough to just focus on it and just do it. We made the Cross Harbour Bridge, which is only 40 years behind, 52 years behind the idea concept of across the harbour. Mm-hmm. We've done it. The coastal road was so long back. The metro came in the last 5 years. The whole of slums of Mumbai can get out in 5 years.
So don't you think that their lives and their livelihood and the things that they do nearby,
we can take care of that? It's done everywhere in the world.
So you'll provide enough jobs and stuff like that?
We have done in Singapore, we have done in China, we have done in so many countries of the world. We have done in Central America in so many places. There's no reason, because land is so valuable in India that if you remove the jhoppadpattis and use half the land for the rest of it in terms of development and sale, it's possible to do so. Yeah, individually, private developers who were doing it have proved to be incapable of doing it. But I think the governments now should take over and step over, take it. Of course, Mr. Adani is doing Dharavi, so I'm hoping that he will also do that part of it very successful. But there are so many more slums besides Dharavi, and we should eliminate it.
And if
I don't mind being in charge of it.
Yeah, that's what I was asking.
I would love.
And in an ideal scenario, how?
I wouldn't do it myself. I would see that it is done, and it's possible to do.
So under your leadership, you can make it possible. How quick?
Yes.
How quick if there's a possible?
5 years.
5 years and you will eliminate everything. You can.
And I'll make money out of it for the government. I don't want any penny for myself. I'll make 20,000 crores profit.
That's amazing. Like that's 20,000 crores, and that government can use it to
build infrastructure and services.
But the only question was emotions of the people that he stayed.
No, you need a person who says, I will do this. Like Mr. Gadkari says, I will make 35 kilometers of national highway per day. And he did it. Of course, under the Prime Minister's blessings. But he did it. There's no problem about it.
What's the craziest thing you've bought? Or the most expensive thing you've bought for yourself? Just no logic, just like I wanted to have it. Maybe a house, maybe a yacht or a private jet. Or I don't know.
I'm going to share a story, short one. About 17, 18 years, my office was at Santa Cruz, Saraswati Road. I landed from Delhi. I was Director HUDCO, and I landed in the morning and got into a taxi because my car had not come or whatever. And my office was Saraswati Road, which was hardly 2 kilometers away. And I got into the taxi and I said, Saraswati Road idhar. So the taxi driver gave me a गाली. मैं बोला क्या हो गया? मैं लाइन में खड़ा था और आप यहाँ थे, तो why are you talking like this? So he said, मैं रात से लाइन में खड़ा हूँ और हम लंबे सफारी के इंतज़ार में करते हैं, तो आप यहाँ बैठे, अब यहाँ 2 किलोमीटर जाएंगे तो मुझे क्या मिलेगा? मैं क्या मांग सकता हूँ आपसे? So I said, मैं क्या करूँ? मैं लाइन में था और आप यहाँ हैं, तो मेरे पास गाड़ी नहीं है, तो मैं कैसे करूँ? तो बोलते हो छोटे सवारी वाले लोग रिक्शा में जाते हैं. तो मैं बोला रिक्शा कहाँ मिलता है? तो बोला वो सामने कतार वहाँ है. तो आई गॉट डाउन फ्रॉम द टैक्सी, आई सैट इन माई रिक्शा एंड आई वेंट टू सरस्वती रोड ऑफिस एंड आई हैड वन हैंड बैग विथ मी एंड आई गॉट डाउन फ्रॉम द कार. I thought the watchman would take my bag. He wouldn't take my bag. So I paid the rickshaw man and I picked the bag and I started walking up the steps to do it. He suddenly realized I'm Niranjan Hiranandani because उसके दिमाग में नहीं आता था कि निरंजन हिरानंदानी कोई रिक्शा से ऑफिस के लिए उतरे. So, and I happily made it and I was very happy with it. But even the person who's my own watchman didn't recognize me because I got down from the rickshaw, and for at least maybe 15-30 seconds, he was quite unaware. Then he rushed to pick up my bag. So I'm very happy about what, myself. Actually, all these things, I don't care. But I also travel in a Bentley and other cars, so don't misunderstand that I don't have good things in life. That's not true.
No, that's for sure you have it. I'm
sure.
like, but there has to be one point in life, जहाँ पे कभी तो लगा होगा कि when you wanted to get bigger and bigger, you were like, okay, I want to. This is my
son
moment.
bought a helicopter for me.
He gifted you that.
He bought, well, actually he wanted it for his pipeline, but he did give it to me and he said, you use it, but I hardly ever used it. And the pipeline project is over, so we've sold the helicopter, but I hardly traveled a couple of times in it. I wasn't even enamored to really travel into it. So I actually, to be honest with you, all these things don't
matter to you now.
Even then, I don't think that helicopter was 10 years ago. So, didn't really bother.
That's refreshing to hear.
Yeah.
That is.
Maybe my needs are less. My wife's needs are even lesser than mine. So really, to be honest with you, very, very content couple.
How do you invest your money? That's a very interesting question. At the level where you are, the stakes are super high. So give me a percentage. Don't tell me exactly number of what you do, but think of, let's say if you have 100 rupees, where would you put like 50, 20, 30? How would you do that?
75-80% of my money is in the business of business.
Okay.
So it all goes circled within that business, whether in the new businesses, whether in the old businesses, all that.
Your individual money
the
as
business is individual money goes into the business of businesses. So I don't have much of the separate monies and all that. 10% of money is kept in liquidity, which is there because when markets go down, you need funds for yourself or whatever it is and all. You do it. And another 10% is kept within the system of the real estate, which is not actually required for immediate funding. But the markets change. You need this thing. New opportunities come by way. So about 10% is there. But 80%, which is the major part of your funding, all goes into the business of business, and there's growth all the time taking place. So we grow by leaps and bounds because we put in back into the business.
So you don't invest in, let's say, stocks, no?
Maybe 1/4% of my wealth.
Why?
Maybe 1%.
Real estate gives better returns than stocks?
No, it's my passion. If TCS price goes up or Reliance goes up and all that, I will look at it and I'll say I made more money.
It's better to have less money, but on your own money.
Not giving me a thrill about it. I've never looked at stocks and shares value. Incidentally, I've never valued myself.
That's interesting.
Never.
You've never gotten your valuation done?
No. The market keeps valuing me, but I've never done it.
What's the craziest rumor you've heard about yourself?
That I'm worth 20,000 crores.
That may be reality, no? Why
I don't know. No, but somebody else told me I'm 32,000.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I really don't know whether this is correct or that is correct on the basis of the valuation or whatever.
No, what's funny? Like, do you feel that, this is too little, that's why it's funny? Or you're like, they have no idea what's going on?
I keep on finding out, how did they value it? But the question is not that. The question is, I am the same. My business is the same. And today I'm valued at X. Tomorrow I'm valued at 2X. And tomorrow I'm valued at half an X. How does it make a difference to me? In the last 15 years of my life, my expenses have not gone up. They may have gone up because of inflation. But I haven't really got anything which are more expensive or personal use, which is more expensive. I think maybe 5 years ago, I spent more money on myself than I do today, for example. So it's not a question of that. And it doesn't really make a difference to me because I'm wealthier that I will spend more. I'm not going to buy a yacht or a plane or helicopter, whatever it is. But the point is, if you're not going to do all that, then all this is meaningless. If you just looking at a number that I want to be bigger than that builder or I want to be bigger than this industrialist and all, I don't think it has meaning to me. Or maybe, to be honest, let me be fair. Maybe it's lost meaning 20 years ago.
Used to be that right now.
Maybe at that time I would be very excited if somebody told me that you're worth
XYZ.
5,000 crores. Wow. And I'd like everybody to know also. Just it neither has any meaning to me nor to, if anybody expresses it also, I just, yes.
But were you ever excited? There's a term in US in Silicon Valley. They call it 3 comma club.
No, what's
the
that?
3 comma club.
What's that?
So 3 comma club means you've made it to $1 billion.
Okay.
Right? And people get excited about it that, hey, after my tech company exit, I've got into a 3 comma club now. And it's a feeling that only 0.01% people in the world can ever say or feel like that. So were you ever excited at any point?
The only time I remember the $1 billion transaction was what I sold commercial properties to Brookfield about 6 years ago or 7 years ago. And it, splashed over it. And I said, wow, $1 billion, check, which came in. So, I was pretty excited about it. I think I was excited at that time. But it doesn't last long. It's just a few minutes.
Okay, do you go to around the world and you look at the best properties and you get inspired? Which one was your favorite property in the world? Which was like, damn, this project is really good. I wish we had something like this.
One of the earliest ones I really liked was Singapore.
Okay.
And
what in Singapore?
Again, maybe 30 years ago, I went to Singapore. And one thing they showed me was a new township.
Okay.
And you know what they did? They first had the road. They had the railroad metro connecting to that new place. They had essential work to be done, a police station, a proposed hospital to come up immediately before the first buildings in that township would happen. And that's how I really thought of the township in Powai. So one of my earlier days when I came to Powai and I come from Singapore, I realized that, you had to create a good infrastructure if you really want to do a township. While in India, we first make a township and then we create the infrastructure.
Yeah.
Then we bring the metro, then we bring the road, then you bring everything else. While Singapore was one of those things. I've been to townships in China. Fantastic, unbelievable. But the size and scale was so enormous that really difficult to emulate, but fantastically large townships and all that. But then there it is a totalitarian regime. So when they want to clean up Shanghai, they don't have to wait for 40 years, 50 years to do it. They don't need anybody else to come and call for tenders 7 times to do a Dharavi or clear the slums and all that. They just clear it. So I think there's no equivalent as far as China is concerned, but I think China has also done it. Dubai has done a huge amount of infrastructure in development, and I look up to that. So always seen infrastructure, always seen developments, buildings, things like that. I still do that.
You do that? Have you heard about this project that Saudi Arabia is building, the vertical, right? Do you know more about it?
No, I don't know the details. I think I've probably seen the same video you have. And but it's fantastic. New things, new ideas, new concepts, and new things are things which we really need in the country. I saw the Bharat Mandapam in Delhi, the new convention center, which was inaugurated by the Prime Minister last week. What a place. Out of the world.
Yeah.
Just beautiful. I saw Parliament House also 2 months before. What a building. It's really beautiful. So we can make beautiful things and which were probably not being done so much before. 35 kilometers of national highway per day that we make. We are going to make 330 kilometers of metro in Mumbai in the next 2 years. In 70 years, we had 190 kilometers of suburban rail, Western Railway, Central Railway, and Harbour Line. And now we are going to add, next 2 years, 330 kilometers of metro. So I think, we're doing a great, impressive,
work,
forward-looking, and infrastructure is going to be very important for the country.
The fun question ending is, sir, what's the price of this apartment?
To be honest, I don't know.
What do you think this kind of apartment in Mumbai, how much would you get it for?
I really don't know, to be honest with you. I told you, I don't value myself.
If you had to think.
Well, it'd be upward of 50 crores, but I really don't know the figure. If you go to buy it, it would cost you maybe twice as much, but
that's somewhere around it. No clue.
It's my home and house, so it's part of the thing.
And it's part of your township. So.
It's part of my township too. And so it's really not.
No clue.
Actually, I never thought of it.
Now we do this. Let's start a new rumor today. What do you think is the price of this apartment?
Maybe I'll get a better offer.
Let's do the listing. Have you seen those reels where people are like, Shandar balcony, ye dekhiye. Have you seen those?
Yeah, we do it sometimes.
You do it? Okay, that's it. Interesting. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for giving us little anecdotes, gyan, stories, and perspective. And I hope that you enjoyed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching this episode till the end. Please let us know in the comments if you like this guest and you want us to do more of these kind of guests or no, so that we can serve you better and come up with better content which helps you achieve your Indian dream. Before you leave the episode, like, subscribe, comment and share it at least with one person जिसको इस conversation से ideas मिले और वो ideas पे implement करे, because one idea is enough to turn around your life, your people's life, your family's life and your country's progression as well. Until the next episode, keep figuring it out.